What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video and to another episode of my bodybuilding prep series. My name is Casey Kelly, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to train on a cut, aka while eating in a caloric deficit. Throughout the video, I'll be giving you my 5 best tips to ensure your training is on point during your fat loss phase. I'll also be hitting and giving you a chest, shoulders, and triceps workout while giving you my best tips, and you'll want to stick around until the end of the video because I'll probably be giving you a bonus tip or two. I'm 13 weeks out from my bodybuilding show, and summer is right around the corner, so now is the time to start cutting if you want to be lean for summer. But before I give y'all any tips on how to train on a cut, I owe you a physique update at 3 weeks into my cut and 13 weeks out from my bodybuilding show. This morning I woke up at 178.6 pounds, which means I lost about 1.5 pounds from last week, and I'm down 12 pounds from peak bulk. I'm feeling good, everything's really tightening up, and I'm totally happy with that rate of loss. So here's a physique update on my 6-foot frame. Side note, I normally do these fasted. This is with 1 meal in me, so my stomach might not be as flat. That's what we're looking like now, 3 weeks into the cut. But now let's head on to the gym so that I can start giving you my very best tips for training on a cut. We have now arrived at the gym. I'm sipping on my pre-workout, but before I get into giving you tips and dropping some knowledge bombs, you have to understand the entire premise of training on a cut, and that's to keep all the muscle that you worked so very hard for on the bulk, because you probably won't be building any muscle in a calorie deficit because of the nature of it. You're not giving your body enough nutrients to actually build that muscle, but what we can do is keep all the muscle that we did work so hard for. So without further ado, let's get in there so that we can start giving these tips and working out hard. Warm-up is done now. I threw 4 plates onto this bad boy, and that leads me to tip number 1, and that is to train just as heavy as you were training during your bulk. Think of it this way, you're telling your body, I need to keep all the muscle on my frame because I need to continue to move the weight that I was moving before. Your muscle is on your body so that you can move weight like this. So we need to make sure we're telling our body, hey, look, I still need to keep this muscle to be able to move the weight that I was moving before. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. Don't lighten up the weight just because you're cutting. Try to keep all your strength, and that's going to help you tremendously in keeping your muscle. So without further ado, let's move this weight. Let's see how many we can get this for. I'm going for the exact same number or more that I was doing on my bulk. Let's try to get 7, 8, maybe 9 if we're feeling real strong today. Tip number 2 piggybacks off of tip number 1 and the principles that we got from that, but it is more of an all-encompassing one, and it is do not change your rep range just because you're cutting. Don't go all of a sudden start doing high reps and you were doing low reps on your bulk. toning up the muscle is not a thing. The only way to tone is to eat in a caloric deficit and do your cardio and lose body fat. So don't go magically doing higher reps because you think it's gonna get you more cut. There's absolutely zero scientific evidence to ever prove that. So make sure your rep ranges are pretty much the same. I would recommend 6 to 12, maybe no more than 15, because then it just gets more fatiguing than you need. And make sure you are training close to failure, if not to failure, within that 6 to 12 range. You want to be failing in that range or very, very close to it, maybe 1, 2 reps in reserve. As you get leaner and leaner, you can kind of back off to that 2 reps in reserve range because you don't want to be hurting yourself, because then you run into the risk of injury and managing all your fatigue and stuff like that. But tip number 2 is don't start increasing your reps for absolutely no reason just because you're cutting. And on another note for that, don't go increasing or decreasing your volume too much. Listen to your body. If you're getting good pumps, keep the volume where it should be. If you're starting to lose your pump towards the end of the workout, maybe dial the volume back a little bit, but listen to your body, get the feedback from your body, and don't just go playing with the numbers just because, again, at the end of your cut, maybe you'll do a little bit less volume because you're not able to recover as good and things of that nature. But if you're recovering fine, you're getting good pumps and you're getting good workouts, there's no reason to touch your volume at all. So now for this set, we're gonna take all the principles that we've learned from tip number 1 and tip number 2 and apply them. We're gonna train heavy, we're gonna train in our exact same rep range, and we're going to train super hard, maybe 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. Maybe we're gonna go to failure. I normally push it towards failure, but we're gonna do that. We're gonna get as heavy as we possibly can on this, and we're gonna train hard, man. Let's get into it. After that set of flies, that brings me to tip number 3, and that is to pick exercises that limit your overall fatigue. So today in the workout, you've seen me do an incline machine press, a flat machine press, and now a seated machine fly. You may be like, why did you do that instead of doing barbell press, then incline dumbbell press, then standing cable flies? That's because it limits my overall fatigue. Barbell press is really fatiguing on other muscles than your chest, like your triceps and your front delts. So I choose things that are hitting and targeting my chest alone. This really more goes for things like barbell squat. Maybe choose a hack squat instead, and just find movements that are still very stimulating for your muscles, but don't fatigue you overall, because if you're doing that for weeks and weeks and weeks straight, by like week 8 or 10, you're gonna be extremely fatigued. Dr. Mike Isertel, you guys have seen him on the channel, you gotta get. He talks about this a lot, stimulus to fatigue ratio. You wanna make sure you're getting exercises that are stimulating your muscles, absolutely. That's why we're in here, but you also wanna be managing your fatigue well, and that is extremely important while you're in a fat loss phase on a cut, because things like regular barbell squats, extremely stimulating, but then you got lower back involved in there. Maybe you got some calves in there from dorsiflexion. You got a bunch of things in there, hamstrings, and you only wanna be hitting your quads. Do a hack squat instead. Just things like that to put in your program to make sure you're training smart and hard at the same time, so that you're not getting burnt out, fatigued, and having your body hurt by week 8 or 10. But I'm gonna finish up chest over here on another set or 2 of flies, then we're gonna go over to shoulder and keep working, and I'm gonna be giving you tips along the way. But if you've made it up until this point of the video, comment SMART, because we're not only training hard, we are training smart, and I just wanna make sure you all stick around for the whole video. We're not done yet. Let's go keep training. pretty cool training montage if you ask me. I don't know, you guys gotta let me know. I thought it was pretty dope. But before I get into giving you tip number 4, I wanna make sure you guys are actually enjoying your training, because if you're not enjoying your training, why are you doing it? Even if you're a little bit depleted, even if you're a little bit tired, you should still enjoy your training, or at least try to. Every day is not gonna be a hit. You have bad workouts here and there, but make sure you're finding ways to make training enjoyable for you. Tip number 4 is using absolutely perfect technique for all your exercises. This is even more important probably than when you're bulking, because the risk of injury is way higher when you're cutting. Your joints aren't as lubed up. You're leaner. When you're leaner, you can lead to more muscle tears and things like that. Make sure your technique is absolutely perfect. And you might be like, what does absolutely perfect technique mean? That means full range of motion, no stopping halfway, because if you get in the habit of, like, let's say stopping halfway on bench, and then for some reason the bar goes lower, you're actually risking injury because you're not used to that lower range of motion. So if you've seen every single exercise today, we're going super deep and a good press on everything. Make sure you're using the weight that you should. Again, go heavy, but go heavy within your means. Don't go crazy. Don't try to max out on like a 1 rep max on bench when you're cutting. That's not a good idea. Use absolutely perfect technique. That is so important for keeping yourself safe, because if you're not safe and you get injured, guess what? Your cut kind of goes to shit. I'm gonna finish up over here on 2 tricep exercises, then I'm gonna get into some posing, show y'all what the pumped up physique looks like, and then I'm gonna let y'all know exactly when you should be doing your cardio, because that is a question that I get asked frequently. So let's finish off this workout by hitting some triceps. Because I've been here for like 2 hours, which is way too long for a workout, especially on a cut, but I'm filming, so that's kind of to be expected, but we gotta check out the pump anyway before I talk to y'all about cardio. I'm now in the cardio section, which brings me to tip number 5 of the video, the final tip, but I will have a bonus tip there right at the end of the video. That is the most important tip I give you the entire video. But for cardio, when should you be doing it and what should you be doing is a question that I get asked all the time. And the best time to do cardio is any time other than directly before your weight training. Like I did fasted cardio this morning, so I don't have to do post-workout cardio. And post-workout cardio is completely fine. I just don't like hopping on the treadmill after my workout. The only reason you don't want to do it directly before your weight training is because then it's going to interfere with your productivity during the workout. You can't press as much weight, you can't go as close to failure, and even if you do reach failure, you're not moving as much weight for as many reps as you were, so you're not stimulating the muscle as much as you should be. So anytime other than right before your weight training, you're totally in the clear. And what type of cardio, whatever you like the best, whether you want to incline walk, whether you want to do the bike, the elliptical, the Stairmaster, whether you want to go outside and play pickleball or basketball, anything like that, it's more about getting your total daily steps in. I shoot for around 10,000 and getting your heart rate up past like 120 beats per minute. It's not that complicated. As long as you're losing your target weight each week, you're totally in the clear. That's when I do cardio. Sometimes I do it post-workout, sometimes I do it fasted. It's really not that big of a deal when you do it. Just don't interfere with your weight training. Just heated up a meal in the gym, eating into the car now, which brings me perfectly to my bonus tip and possibly the most important tip of the entire video. But before I can give you that, if you want to support the channel and the bodybuilding prep series in any way, make sure you drop a like and a comment down below. But if you want to support me directly monetarily, you can use code Casey on Young LA, where all the clothes from the video were from. Rise Subs, the pre-workout I took, and all the supplements that I take, and Helimix, the shaker bottles that I use. I would greatly appreciate that. And you can also head over to CaseyKellyFit.com to get a slew of different programs. I also have the ultimate cutting guide over there. It comes with a training program. It comes with diet guidelines, training guidelines, literally everything under the sun. Check out CaseyKellyFit.com if you want to know more about that. Really good programs over there. And I think you guys would really take some value from that. But for our bonus tip, Your training means absolutely nothing if your diet and your recovery is not on point. You can train as hard as you want, but you will lose muscle if you're not sleeping and you're not eating right. You need plenty of protein, at least 7 hours of sleep, and that is so big. People will go in the gym and they will do the work, but they won't do the work outside of the gym, and that is what's also so important. You can't have one piece of the puzzle and finish the puzzle, right? So make sure you have all those in line to get the most out of the cut. If you've made it up until this point of the video, I appreciate you. I cannot thank you enough for sticking around. Make sure you subscribe so you follow the entire prep series. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I will catch you in the next YouTube video. Peace.